guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Dad's Clubhouse. I'm Jeremiah. I'm going to be your host tonight. Tonight, we've got a good one for you. We've always got a good one for you. We are doing what it takes. We are talking about what it takes to do a searching and fearless moral inventory. Now, a lot of people spend their lives auditing everybody else's behavior. The government. The government's a big one. Their spouse, their boss, their parents, their ex. But growth begins the day you stop pointing outward and start looking inward. A searching and fearless moral inventory isn't about beating yourself up. It's about finally telling yourself the truth. I'm Jeremiah, and this is the Clubhouse. All right, guys, good evening and welcome. I'm Jeremiah again. I'm your host tonight. Listen, tonight we're talking about what it takes to do a searching and fearless moral inventory. When was the last time that you got brutally honest with yourself? When was the last time you looked in the mirror and told yourself and said out loud the things that you are? Not honest with Facebook, not honest with your therapist, not honest with your partner. I'm talking about honest with yourself. You know what I did? I did about a month ago. I started this journey into a moral inventory, and it started with the first night. I sat and I was sitting in the bathroom. I was looking in the mirror, and I was just looking at myself, and I wasn't happy with what I saw. I started to question things, question my sanity, really question my reality. And it came down to one thing. It said, and I've got three daughters. And I got to thinking, I said, would I be happy if my daughters grew up to marry a man like me right now as I sit? And the answer was an astounding no. It really was. I got a lot of skeletons I hide in my closet, a lot of reasons and a lot of things that I've held on to through the years that I've let shape me, whether it be things that have happened to me, things that have happened to other people, it doesn't matter. But when I asked that question, it led me to the thing that I need to take a searching and fearless moral inventory, as they say in the AA rooms. Now, when most people hear the term and immediately think, I'm going to make a list of everything wrong with me and everything I've done wrong. And that's not it, guys. That's not it. A moral inventory is an examination of your actions, your motives, your resentments, your fears, dishonesty, your strength, your character defects, and your character assets. It is a complete accounting of who you are. Okay? Now, this doesn't mean you just need to sit down for an hour and beat the hell out of yourself and just say, this is all the things I've done wrong. This is all the stuff that I do that it doesn't please me and the things I've done to hurt other people. It's not beating yourself up. It's just being honest with the person that you've become and the person you are, the person that you've been. And then at the end, the person that you want to be, the person that you want to stand out and show the world and show yourself, perhaps the people you love, perhaps the people you're raising, your children. This is just like a business that takes inventory of what's on the shelves. You take inventory of what's inside your heart and your mind. And if you don't know what's there, you can't fix it. If you don't know what's sitting on the shelves in the back, you can't sell it. You can't get rid of it. You can't move it around. You can't bring it to the front, examine it, and push it where you want it to go. Okay? We avoid this because it's uncomfortable. Nobody likes to be uncomfortable. A lot of times addiction is spurred from, not wanting to be uncomfortable. Feelings, emotions that we don't want to feel. Okay? And that's why this can be so upsetting. And the truth hurts. It really does. It means admitting how selfish we can be, how we can be dishonest, manipulative. I was lazy. I'm resentful. I blamed other people. And that is uncomfortable. These feelings, these realizations are very uncomfortable. I realized through my inventory that I can be very manipulative of my wife. Okay? I can try to get her to do things that I want her to do by playing her emotions, by playing her her love for me, really. I can use that as a tool against her. I've been lazy. Okay. I want to sit here and tell myself that I'm doing the best that I can, that I'm raising my kids the best way possible, that I'm doing only what's best for them. And I'm not. I'm lazy a lot. I not just lay on the couch. Everybody needs their rest, but I put off what can be done today till tomorrow and then never get to it tomorrow. Okay. Not because I can't, because I don't want to, because I'm being lazy. I found out that I'm resentful. Okay. This might come as a surprise. I'm resentful of my oldest daughter sometimes. Okay. I was resentful when my son was born, because in my mind he took away the time that I had with my middle daughters. And I grew resentment every time I had to change a diaper or stop what I was doing with them to go feed him. And resentment grows on its own. It's not something we can control. It's not something that we want to have happen. It just grows. When I was saying about my older daughter, she's my stepdaughter. Our values and our morals don't exactly align. And I would watch her almost get away with stuff. And I built resentment over that. Like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And I got resentful for it. But until I was able to say that out loud, I wasn't able to fix it. I wasn't able to come clean with it and fix my relationship with her and find ways to reconnect. So one of the things that I needed to realize is that I would have rather fix myself than stay sick. I would rather face myself than stay sick. Keep this resentment, because resentment is an angry little ball. Okay. It sits in your gut and it just spews venom. Okay. Resentment's a big one. Because once you know the truth about yourself, you become responsible for changing it. Once you say it, it's like a glass breaks. Okay. It's like that mirror shatters and it happens again, and you can feel it and you understand what you're doing. You understand that you're reliving these things, that you're doing them. Okay? Once you take this inventory, you're able to recognize your defects of character. Okay. And you start not blaming yourself, but taking accountability for what you've done. You stop blaming others. You stop being a victim. And you start taking accountability for your actions and your misdeeds. And you understand where you can fix them. Now, it's not perfect. It's not going to just one day you take an inventory and you're all better. Nothing works like that. It takes time. It takes small, deliberate actions to break these character defects that you're going to find in your inventory. Who are you angry at? Your parents, your exes, former friends, employers, a person who betrayed you? How much rent are they paying now to live in your head? Resentments are heavy, man. Sometimes we hold on to them just because they're easier than healing. So resentment turns into a lot of things. Resentment turns into anger first. Resentment shows its head with anger first, off and foremost. You will spew hate at these people. You will spew hate in their direction. It just doesn't matter. Anger is engulfing, and it's like glitter, man. It just gets everywhere. It gets everywhere. And then sometimes that anger turns into isolation. You will remove yourself from settings that involve these people. I found myself not wanting to spend time with him, and that's terrible. Okay. So I needed to reframe that. And a lot of times I turn to addiction. Okay. I turn to numbing myself out of these uncomfortable feelings. That's what I want to talk about next is addiction. Resentment can turn into a lot of addiction. Okay. Because we don't want to be uncomfortable. We want things to feel good. And addiction is a way of changing that. Now, addiction comes in many forms and shapes. Okay. Many forms and colors. Addiction can come into substances, alcoholism. Addiction can be spending, can be sex, pornography. It can be a lot of things. Okay. It doesn't have to be just doing lines in the bathroom. Okay. That's just one avenue. But addiction is anything you're doing to numb an uncomfortable feeling. All right. And resentment is a very uncomfortable feeling. And you know when it's resentment. If you're honest with yourself, you can tell when it's resentment. And then a lot of times this resentment turns into a depression. Depression doesn't look the same on everybody. Depression can be, the happiest dude in the world, but inside he's suffering. Okay. And it looks different because it's not always laying in bed, not always sad, moping, crying. It's not always that. I deal with depression a lot, and I get up here on the mic all the time. And I'll talk, positive thoughts and motivation and everything else. But inside, I'm really depressed, and it could be from a number of different things. Resentment is a big one. I was talking about my oldest daughter and the resentment I felt for her. That was engulfing me for a long time. I let that live in me, and it wasn't anything she did. It wasn't anything she was doing intentionally. It wasn't anything I was doing intentionally. It just happened. Okay. And that's when it turned to bitterness. Okay. I was finding myself bitter at her, and I couldn't even explain why until I said out loud that I had a resentment and who that resentment was towards. And I couldn't start fixing that until I recognized it, until I brought it out, put it on the table, twisted it around, and looked at it from every angle. And I'm talking about the resentment and myself. Now, the next segment I want to talk about is how fear runs more of our lives than we really think. Now, with this moral inventory, what are you afraid of losing? All right. Are you afraid of losing your marriage, respect from others, respect from yourself, money, your status, children, your sobriety, control? Fear drives behavior. Fear drives emotions. It's an easy emotion. Fear manifests in many different ways. It manifests in depression. It manifests in anger, number one. It manifests in lying. People lie because they are afraid, because they're afraid of maybe consequences. They're afraid to let people down. They're afraid of a multitude of things. People cheat because they're afraid, okay, because of fear. People will go out and find somebody new because they're at the end of the line afraid that their partner's going to leave them anyway. Abandonment. People hide because they're afraid. Hide from relationships. Hide from people they love. Hide from their families. And people stay silent because they're afraid, okay? Because they're afraid what they have to say is going to let somebody down, is going to make them look weak, is going to make them look halfway what they need to be. This inventory helps uncover what is actually driving the bus, what is driving that fear, what's sitting down in our stomach and manifesting in that anger that we're spewing at everybody, in that isolation, in that silence, in that cheating. Cheating is a big thing amongst men. Okay, it's a big thing amongst women too. It's not just a stereotype, but cheating is rampant when it comes to being afraid of what we're going to lose. We want to feel that grasp before somebody hurts us. It's almost like a monkey, you know what I mean? Grabbing one vine before they let go of the next. Now, in all these things, losing these things, we want to look at our own part that we're playing. Okay, we want to look and see what part it is we're playing in this. This is where it gets real. Not what did they do to me? What was my part? What did my daughter do to me to make me resentful? She did absolutely nothing. It was my fear that she was getting something more than me, that she was getting away with something that I wasn't able to get away with. Okay, that was my part. That was my anger, my fear that led to the resentment that I felt for my daughter. Okay. And I began lying about it. That's another thing. Lying is a great way for me to cover up shame and guilt. Okay. I would make excuses and lie about why I couldn't help her do something. Okay. But sitting back and examining what your part is, you're going to understand that maybe your part wasn't causing the event. Maybe your part was holding on to it or avoiding it or reacting poorly or refusing to heal, refusing to communicate. This is where accountability begins, not blame, accountability. There is a difference. Accountability is when you accept your role. Okay, when you accept what part you play, you accept what happened. All right. Blame is where you're shaming someone, even yourself, shaming someone for the role they played. And shaming yourself is going to get you nowhere. Blaming yourself only brings shame and guilt. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. You're the problem. That's not what this is about. That's not at all what this is about. This is about taking accountability for our role in the dysfunction of our lives and our relationships, including the relationship with your children. You know, why do you come home after a hard day's work and start yelling at your children? Why does that happen? You're overstimulated. You had a rough day at work. You're angry at your boss, resentment towards your boss. So you come home and you take it out of your children. Why? Because they're smaller than us. Because we have power over them. Maybe it's your spouse you're coming home and yelling at, maybe abusing, whether it be manipulating emotionally, mentally, physically. These things all play parts in our resentment and our accountability that we take for ourselves. What am I doing that's making me angry at my children? Where is it stemming from? You know what I do is I actually sit down when I'm feeling angry with things and I try and figure out where it's coming from. I take a quick moral inventory. Where's that fear coming from? Where's that anger coming from? And I can feel it. You can feel it in your body where anger is coming from. You can tell where it's at, where it's based, what it's from, and what started it. And the only way to get through it is to nurture it, is to sit with it and feel it and understand where it was coming from. I'm not angry at my kids. I'm angry at my boss. I feel disrespected by my boss. But why do I feel disrespected by my boss? Why is my boss disrespecting me? What could I do better to keep my boss off my back and from disrespecting me? Am I performing 100% at work? Am I doing the best job possible, or am I just skating by? All right. I can be honest with myself. I am doing the best job possible. The character defect is my boss. Why am I letting him rent space in my head? Or the exact opposite. No, I am not doing my best at my job. I can give more. With good eating, with getting the proper amount of sleep, with organizing my schedule, with becoming more responsible with my duties, I can do a better job at my job. And perhaps then my boss will get off my back. Perhaps then my boss will respect me. Perhaps then I won't come home angry at my boss and take it out on my children. All right? Accountability, understanding your role in the situation, not blaming yourself. Blame is a completely different thing. Blame involves shame and guilt. We're going to talk right now about character defects. What is a character defect to you? What keeps showing up in your life over and over and over? The common denominator when what keeps showing up in our lives is us. What keeps showing up? Fights with our partner. What is our partner saying? Over and over and over and over and over again. Because the common denominator is what you're going to find is going to be you. Is going to be us. It's going to be me. Some examples: pride, ego, dishonesty, self-pity, control, laziness, anger, impatience, people-pleasing, perfectionism. You cannot defeat an enemy that you refuse to identify, even if that enemy is in yourself, even if that enemy is sitting in your gut. These things, these character defects like pride, control, laziness, anger, these are all things we need to recognize. And we can't fix them until we recognize them, until you look in your mirror and you say, you know what? My pride takes a lot of the part with my fights with my wife. My wife says my ego's in control all the time. I don't feel my ego's in control. But what if it is? What if it actually is my ego that's taking over, that's not allowing me to be wrong, that has to be right? What if it's my anger, my impatience that's playing the role, that's driving this bus? All right. People pleasing. That's one that I'm guilty of. I've got to make you happy. I will lie to make you happy. I will lie to not let you down. And perfectionism. That's a big one, because a lot of times we feel that everything has to be perfect. We're always striving for more. But when it starts tearing you down, when it starts renting space in your head to be perfect and have everything on cue, that's when it's deteriorating. That's when it becomes a defective character. Now, we were just talking about the defects, but I want to talk about assets now. Don't forget your assets. Don't forget what you're good at when you take this inventory. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you a way to sit down to this before we get into our assets. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to grab a piece of paper. And you're going to put a line right down the center of that piece of paper. All right? And you're going to write at the top of the side on one side, what is real about me? And on the other side, you're going to write, what is an emotion about? What do I feel about me? Okay. What is real? My family loves me. What is not real? My family doesn't love me. What is real about me? I lie. What is a feeling? I can't stop lying. What is real? I get angry. What is a feeling? I cannot stop getting angry. What we're going to do is we're going to flip that page over, and then we're going to start writing down on the back of it what's good about us. All the good things about us. I'm a loyal man. I've never cheated on my wife. I'm loyal. I will not sell my friends up the river. I am loyal. Okay. So we're going to almost contradict all these negative defects that we found, and we're going to find the good in them. All right. A lot of men don't think they're brave. A lot of men don't think they have the courage to walk in and tell their boss, I need a raise. But through your inventory, you're going to find out you have the courage to do that. That you have the bravery to walk in and ask your boss for a raise on Monday. Because you're cleaning out your closet. Freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. And when you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to lose. You want to talk about these strengths on the back of that piece of paper. You want to talk about loyalty, courage, your work ethic, your compassion, persistency, honesty, leadership, service. These are just some examples. But a complete inventory includes both liabilities and your assets. So again, on the front of the page, we've got our liabilities listed and what's real and what our feeling is, what isn't real. Okay. So we're going to talk about things that were like resentment, anger, lying, dishonesty, the inability to be transparent. These are things that you want listed up there. And usually they're going to follow with, I can't stop doing these things. Those are feelings. Those aren't real. Okay. And again, on the back, you're going to list your assets. And then you get another piece of paper and make a list. You're going to make a list of actions you can take to take that list of feelings and turn it into, I can stop lying. What can I do to stop lying? What can I do to be transparent? What can I do to stop drinking? What can I do to stop using cocaine? Okay. You're going to find a clear list of actionable items. And then you're going to turn that piece of paper over. Now we've got two pieces of paper. We got four sides. Okay. First side, first paper, first side. What is real? What our feeling is about it. Back of that paper, our list of assets. You're going to find out it's pretty long. New piece of paper. Front of that piece of paper, actionable items you can take. And now on the back of that piece of paper, you're going to write down everything that you can to maintain those assets. What can you do to maintain those assets that you have that are positive attributes to who you are? What can you do to maintain them? Now, why do men struggle with this? Why do men find it hard to do a moral inventory? Because many men were taught a few very important things that destroyed our lives. Men don't cry. Men don't need to talk. We need to handle ourselves, and we need to man up. Okay? Those are four things that are detrimental to our mental health and our growth. Okay? So instead of taking this inventory, we distract, we work, we drink, we scroll, we gamble, we stay busy. We don't stop long enough to look at ourselves. Now, this isn't a way of living in the past. This isn't a way of living in what we used to be or in the shame and the guilt. Instead of doing anything to avoid sitting alone with our own thoughts, we need to find the ways to grow and end the excuses. Okay? And we can't do that until we've identified where the excuses need to stop, what our role is in our own discomfort, what our role is in our dysfunction with our relationships. What is our role in our dysfunction at work? Why can't we get any further? Why can't I have a boss that respects me? 9 times out of 10, we're going to sit back and we're going to find out these are our defects. These are our problems that we have control of changing. Okay? The goal here isn't shame. The goal here isn't guilt. The goal isn't here to prove that you are a terrible person. The goal here is freedom. And again, freedom is just another word to say there's nothing to lose and there's nothing to hide. Because the things that we hide from the world, from ourselves, they own us because they sit inside. Because you know what? You can lie to the entire world. You can lie to Facebook. You can lie to your spouse. You can lie to your boss. You can lie to your co-parent. But you know what? Deep down inside, you know the truth. And everybody knows the truth to themselves. When you're sitting there and you've only got a few breaths left, were you honest? Were you honest with yourself about the person that you were, the person that you became? The things we face through our inventory lose their power over us. The things that we bring out and accept, the things that we admit to, they lose their power over us. A searching and fearless moral inventory is simply standing in front of the mirror and saying, this is who I am today. Some of it I'm proud of. Some of it needs work, but all of it is mine. And now that I've stopped running from it, I can finally start changing it. And this is the person I want to be tomorrow. Now, I'm going to close with a question here. I want to know, if you were forced to write down every resentment, fear, character defect, and strength you have tonight, what would surprise you the most? And are you the best version of yourself right now? And would you be proud if your child grew up to marry a person just like you? All right, guys, again, thank you for listening. I'm Jeremiah. This is Dad's Club Clubhouse. I appreciate you tuning in tonight. Give us a follow everywhere you can. That's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Give us a follow on TikTok. That's Dad's Club Clubhouse. You guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for tuning in, okay? Make sure to like and subscribe.